There's nothing quite so American as Denny's Diner.
For dinner, lunch, or Sunday brunch, welcome to Denny.
Take a trip across pretty much any highway in the country, and you can't help but spot that giant yellow sign. Venture inside, and you'll find a menu with not just words, but pictures of the food. Most people have some relationship to Grand Slam breakfasts, free birthday meals, and feeling embarrassed when ordering Moons Over My Hammy. Which is why it's sad to see that's about to change. Now, just to be clear, Denny's is not disappearing anytime soon, but there's strong evidence that something is about to happen. Denny's started as a donut shop named Danny's Donuts in Lakewood, California in 1953. To put that in perspective, that's the same year Edmund Hillary got to the top of Mount Everest for the first time. But in 1956, the owner changed the business from donuts to a coffee shop and kept the place open 24 hours. At the same time, Los Angeles had a restaurant chain called Coffee Dan's, so the name was changed to Denny's. So what's the problem with Denny's? The restaurant can't afford labor in today's climate.
I think the service and restaurant economy will be forever changed. It'll be evolved in new ways we haven't even answered yet.
Now, this is a problem for all restaurants in the post-COVID period, but Denny's is about to do something on a large scale. As I stated, the first version of Denny's was a donut shop. But by staying open 24 hours and putting locations by freeway on-ramps, the restaurant chain began to grow rapidly. As the automobile and freeway culture took over America, so did Denny's. It was as much a part of the national identity as bikinis, rock music, and civil rights. Here, it might be a good idea to consider the entire history of restaurants. Dating back to at least 1100, restaurants first appeared in China so that tradesmen could enjoy familiar foods when traveling outside their home cities. And this was the primary function of Denny's, to offer something familiar to highway travelers. According to a Chinese manuscript from 1126, customers at one restaurant were first shown demonstration dishes that represented the options. That's pretty similar to the picture menus found inside a Denny's restaurant. And in ancient China, a waiter would take orders, stand in line at the kitchen, and sing out his request. Happy birthday! This part didn't quite make it Denny's, and that's probably a good thing. One of the most iconic dishes at Denny's is the Grand Slam breakfast. Named for Hank Aaron, the dish has now become just as famous as the baseball player himself. It's also well known that the restaurant never closes, even on Christmas Day. In fact, Christmas is typically the busiest day for Denny's. In 2016, about 1.5 million people dined there.
It's Christmas at Denny's tonight.
As of 2022, there are 1,774 Denny's in the United States, with California coming in at the highest. Delaware is the only state that doesn't have one of the diners.
Delaware! Hi, I'm in Delaware.
The last thing I'll note before getting to their big change is something strange that happened in the late 90s. The city of Fairfield, California received funding for a new freeway overpass that would go right through their Denny's. Wanting to get ahead of the problem, they opened another location across the street. But then the city couldn't come up with their half of the project, and the overpass was never built. So there were two Denny's. So big was the demand for Denny's in Fairfield that these two restaurants operated for over 20 years, until COVID disrupted the business. And COVID brings us to the issue facing the iconic restaurant chain today.
To make matters worse, researchers have found that since the pandemic began, tips have decreased by as much as 80%.
With labor expensive and increasingly hard to come by, Denny's is considering robots. In fact, they're already in operation at several locations. At one such Denny's in Pennsylvania, the robot is called Janet. This robot is provided by Bear Robotics, a company in Silicon Valley. They offer the Servi robot in both regular and mini sizes, and according to the company, they've made over 28 million deliveries. It's not clear if there will be a Luddite uprising.
It isn't the first time we've seen lives fundamentally restructured by machines. In 19th century England, an economic recession and changing fashions and a wave of automation threw thousands of textile makers out of well-paid jobs. The workers who reacted by violently smashing machinery came to be known as Luddites.
But so far, customers are mixed on the use of robot servers, with 25% claiming that it feels strange. So, while Denny's may not be disappearing from our highways anytime soon, what's happening inside those diners may start to look a whole lot different.